Now moving to alternative measure number 65A, speaking for alternative measure number 65A is Dr. Mark Horne.
Thank you. Whenever I speak, I'm going to introduce myself by telling you a little bit about me, and you'll just have to trust me. None of it's bragging or anything, but just so you understand the position that I'm coming from. I'm a husband of one, father of three, including a pair of 21-year-old boy-girl twins who are seniors at Ole Miss, a 15-year-old sophomore at home. I have three sisters. I'm the son of a chronically ill mother who's a pancreatic cancer survivor. I'm a combat veteran of Desert Storm, and I'm a practicing physician who's board certified in internal medicine and hospice and palliative medicine. I've been in practice for over 28 years, and I graduated from medical school at the University of Mississippi Medical Center 32 years ago. I've seen a thing or two. I've been around the block a time or two. So it's with that background that I'm talking to you today. I'm also the president of the Mississippi State Medical Association. And the Mississippi State Medical Association represents over 5,000 physicians, resident physicians, and medical students in the state of Mississippi. MSMA is opposed to 65 and supports 65A. That's not just the opinion of our board of trustees and our officers. We had a very significant debate on this at our House of Delegates this past year. 65A overwhelmingly was supported, and 65 was overwhelmingly opposed. There have been some reports around the state where some are saying, well, we met with the State Medical Association and we presented to them and they supported and they helped us. It's not true. I've been in the leadership of the Mississippi State Medical Organization here as a trustee or an officer for about 7 years. That meaning, yes, there was a meeting. Yes, there was an effort to get our support. I was there, and no, it was not supported. So whatever you're told, I can promise you, the State Medical Association has never supported 65. Long experience in the practice of medicine allows me to state with absolute certainty that marijuana is not medication. How can I say that? Well, I only write a few hundred prescriptions a week. You multiply that by 32 years since I graduated from medical school, and you can see over tens of thousands of prescriptions. I can't recall a single one of those prescriptions that didn't have the name of the medication, the strength that I wanted to prescribe, the dose that I wanted people to take, the route by which it was to be taken, and the frequency with which it was to be taken. Those are the very simple basics of writing a prescription. Now, I know some would say, well, we're not writing a prescription for marijuana. You're just giving permission. You're still calling it medicine, and they want me. I'm one of the people who would be looking to do it. I'm an internist, and I'm a hospice and palliative medicine specialist. That's some of the things that I do. They want me to say, here, take 5 ounces of high-grade marijuana per month by the route and the frequency and the dose that you choose to do so. That's not medicine. Marijuana is not even one drug. Last night, someone mentioned the endocannabinoid system. I'll speak about it in a moment. But marijuana is composed of dozens, if not hundreds, of components which have psychoactive and other effects on multiple organ systems throughout the body. It varies in concentration between different strains. Is it an indica or sativa? Is it a concentrate? Who knows? Is it in a gummy? You can't tell me what's in any given dose. You can't tell me what the composition is. You can't tell me exactly what the pharmacologic effects are going to be, or the metabolism, or any of those other things. I'm trying to relate this to people who are in medicine. I thought, well, gee, how would that be if we had maybe some other medicine you're very familiar with? Well, if this was aspirin, we've all got aspirin at home, we've all taken an aspirin. I couldn't tell you, if we're dosing it the way we're doing marijuana at 65, you wouldn't know if that was 81 milligram daily aspirin or a 5,000 milligram dose of aspirin, which might be lethal to you. You wouldn't have any idea. You don't know what you're taking, and you don't know the dose that you're taking. And no one can tell you what the dose is for any given indication, because there have been no dose studies. I know how much of any given drug to give somebody for a given indication. Nobody can tell you what that is for marijuana. The endocannabinoid system is a fascinating part of our body. It truly is, and it's been studied extensively. It's been studied for decades. It's still deeply mysterious in many ways, but it's how marijuana has its effect in our bodies. And there are marijuana or cannabis-derived drugs that are approved, tested, and proven to be effective for HIV-related symptoms and seizures, and even for pain. Some even THC-related in other countries. Cannabidiol, CBD oil, and CBD derivatives are available and legal in 50 states. Now, the evidence is a bit all over the map on that, but I talked to somebody today. I don't have any problem with people using CBD. It's not intoxicating. There's no evidence that it's injurious or harmful, and it's legal. So I'm okay with that. And as most, I don't know any physicians who aren't okay with that. CBD is legal and it's there for pain. It's not, my point in this is that it's much more complex than simply firing up a blunt to say, hey, this is going to help me. And placing this in the Constitution will prevent future knowledge and understanding from advancing and affecting the laws. When we learn more about it in the future, we won't be able to change the law because it's in the Constitution. In my years of practice, I've also had the good fortune and misfortune of seeing many promising medicines and treatments that, based on observation, people thought, wow, that's a great idea. We ought to do that. And later, when we went from observation to evidence, we had to kind of bow our heads and say, sorry, that actually hurt people. Sometimes it can kill people. That's medicine. That's my world. That's where I live. That's what I do. I don't expect you to understand that, but you want me and my colleagues to be in charge of something that we cannot tell you what it will do. It's observation, not evidence. Big difference in science. Marijuana, as envisioned by Proposition 65, has not reached that level of evidence. And before we fix a product in the Constitution, it has to have more evidence and proof. 65A, which I speak in favor of, allows a more measured and balanced approach to what is known and what's unknown. If anybody here today says they know everything there is to know about marijuana, guaranteed they're not telling you the truth. It's what they hope, but it's not the truth because so much is unknown. 65A will allow for compassionate use as we all desire. You've heard the need for compassionate use. 65A will allow our legislature to craft that without providing a backdoor for recreational marijuana, which I believe has already been demonstrated to be what's really going on here, is to create a large recreational marijuana industry. Because when you look at the list of things I can prescribe, I would have a right to write a prescription, not a prescription, but a permit to get a car. I can drive 3 Mack trucks like that. Do anything I want. Some have compared marijuana to alcohol. They're both intoxicants, no question about that. Moderate alcohol use in adults has some demonstrated benefit when used moderately, but when used immoderately, I think we all know that it has severe detriments. Moderate consumption of marijuana, likewise, in studies, has shown some benefit when used immoderately. We know, particularly when used immoderately in younger people, as alcohol, leads to bigger, much worse problems. Psychiatric problems we just heard about. I'm the house physician for a recovery center in Laurel. Nearly 100% of the men who are there recovering from substance abuse. Nearly 100% of them started with marijuana. That doesn't mean that everybody who takes marijuana is going to be an addict, but that's where it begins for so many of those of us, our people who become addicted. Alcohol can be taxed, it can be zoned, and this cannot, outside of the narrow limitations of 65. And as a physician, I tell my patient, I think it's good to have a glass of wine. I know with precision how much of that medicine you're going to get. So please do not co-opt my colleague's practice of medicine into an end run for recreational marijuana. My patients and the people in Mississippi deserve and need a program allowing access to proven treatments and compassionate access to treatments to alleviate illness and suffering. 65A directs the legislature to work with experts to develop a program to accomplish these goals. And by all means, do not force our Board of Health to become the marketers and growers for marijuana. Thank you.